We are done. Hello and welcome to a live stream held by myself with guests, Zaid and Charlie. Currently, we have extra special guest who's working on technical issues. We may expect other people along the ride who will join when they join.
It's a gregamiah stream. It's very likely.
Yeah, that's fair. Zaid is the comments guy. He's going to be monitoring the comments.
I'm the comments guy, and also just, it's easier when we're in the same camera, isn't it?
Yeah, it's pretty easy for us to just be here. So this is going to be centered around drinking culture, specifically in England, although with a slight Canadian lean at some point, possibly. And we're going to be discussing how you can have fun on freshers, but also just in general, whilst not being drunk. So, yeah. Charlie, do you want to describe your alcoholic experience?
My alcoholic experience is very little. Right, okay. Yeah, nothing. I've basically always rejected alcohol. I was never, ever interested in it. I was always like, nah, it's not something that I'm going to do. I kind of put it on the same level as like how I viewed cigarettes, smoking, drugs, all of that. It was all kind of the same. So yeah, I just never did it. And the friendship group that I was in at secondary school, like that's kind of when you're 14, 15, it's time lots of people start experimenting with alcohol and parties. And my group of friends were all very introverted and all very quiet and all had the same kind of views as me. So that didn't happen either. So I've just kind of grown up in a very alcohol-free environment, and now suddenly I'm being thrown into a week where everyone's kind of, or I'm expecting everyone to kind of, go wild. So yeah.
Right, that's fair. Zaid, do you want to?
Well,
do you want to give your introduction?
Religious conservatism. Yeah, alcohol just never has actually been a thing I do. Like, people around me drink. I mean, I've been around Greg when he's got absolutely smashed. It's
absolutely trashed.
It is hilarious to watch. I have a tendency to try and avoid people drinking, because I'm just religiously I'm not supposed to hang around with it.
Right.
I mean, it still ends up happening, doesn't it?
It's uni life.
Uni life. I mean, it's kind of hard to just go, hey, guys, stop drinking. You stop that right now.
You're going to hell.
But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much my experience, and it never actually happened. What's really funny though is because the full-fledged beard thing.
The full-fledged beard thing.
The full-fledged beard thing I've had since I was like 15, 13.
I'm jealous.
Yeah. It meant that a lot of times friends were like, Zaid, can you come to parties to be the guy that buys the alcohol? Or when the police arrived, to be like, oh, we're all legal.
Hello, I'm an adult.
I'm an adult man, and I'm here to let you drink.
Just imagining 15-year-old Zaid in a trench coat.
Hello, drink, yes.
Drink, yes.
Yes.
Right, so that's fair. Whereas myself, I didn't drink at all until I was 18, which is, that's a good thing in the eyes of the law. But in the eyes of teenage culture, it's quite a surprising thing to have.
Unless you're brown.
Unless you're brown, which I'm not.
You sure?
Last I checked.
Okay.
And then I discovered vodka and other various spirits. And now I'm at uni. I drink a lot. I drink infrequently, but a lot when I do drink. And so it's interesting having both those sides, but also not drinking beers or ciders or anything that's not like shottable, So I still get sort of the pressure to drink casually. So like, hey, do you want to have a meal and a bottle of whatever? And I'm just like, nah, I'll just have the meal. But then when I go to parties, I participate in the drinking. So it's weird to have both sides of that, I suppose. So now I suppose we should discuss Freshers Week, which is for us two currently going on.
Yeah. Second time around. I think we're supposed to call it refreshes.
Yeah, they call it refreshers because they've commoditized it. And they sell tickets and such to events. So should we discuss the ticket thing first?
Oh, the ticket thing. That was a fun time.
Go on, Charlie. Talk about the tickets.
Oh, there's so much pressure. And like you're at a point where you don't know anyone. You've kind of tried to get in contact maybe with your course or your flatmates or whatever. But essentially, oh, there's someone new.
We've got Ellen.
Someone.
Hello, Ellen. We're discussing tickets and freshers and kind of the culture that's built up around Freshers Week.
Ah, yes, the thing I'm currently in.
Yes. Go on, Charlie.
Yeah, so again, you like know no one, obviously, because I'm not there yet. But suddenly on like the university page, they're like, you need to buy this wristband, this £65 wristband that's going to get you into all of the freshers events. It's going to be really fun. You don't want to miss out. Only, 50% sold out or something. And it's like, go, 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 go all the time, just getting all of these messages. And I actually messaged directly the university and I was like, can you only get a wristband? Do you have to buy the £65 wristband for Freshers Week, or can you buy the tickets individually? And they were like, well, it's better value for money if you buy the wristband, but I guess you can buy them individually, which I have done. And like I worked out that you'd have to go to 7 out of 8 of the events in order to actually get your like money's worth, which is like a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, like one of my friends who bought the wristband, she said that it's worth it because she's got that flexibility. So I've been really worried that I'm going to end up going to events that like none of my flatmates might be going to because I haven't spoken to them or anything. So it's been pressured, and even like individual tickets, like they only went on sale last Friday and they went on general sale for like all of the university, not just first years, on Monday, and most of them are already sold out. So there is so much pressure. It's literally like you have to buy them now. So yeah, it's been a stressful time.
Hannah Apple in the chat says, "Oh my god, fuck wristbands. They're no good." She said earlier, much like Greg, didn't drink until she was 19, still pretty reluctant, then she discovered vodka. Thank you.
Yeah,
Regular drinker.
Vodka's the one because it's tasteless. I recognise like it's got its kick, but in regards to flavour, it's tasteless. And also you don't need much. So it's very simple to just have your favourite drink, spike it yourself, and get drunk without having to participate in any drinking activity, I guess. Which that's the way I did it.
You just love your flavoured Russian drinks.
Okay, so I have a collection of Absolute bottles, empty, which I'm not sure if that makes it better or worse.
Much worse, because they're trophies, even though.
Yeah, no, they're just really good, and they make like limited edition LGBT ones. So
fancy.
Yeah.
So do you drink to get drunk? Is that like, that is why you drink?
Yeah, I don't enjoy spending more money than is necessary.
Right.
And if you buy an alcoholic drink, funnily enough, it's going to be more expensive than buying a bottle of Coke. And if the way I figure it, this can be totally different to anyone else. The way I figure it, if you're going to drink just liquid, then drink what tastes nice. If you're going to get drunk, then just do the most cost-effective method.
That's such an interesting way of seeing it. I haven't seen anyone who thinks that.
Yeah, because if I don't like the feeling of getting drunk, I like the feeling of being drunk. As to how drunk, we've got a guest.
Oh, hello, Robert.
Hello, Rob.
Welcome
Come
to the
join
live
us.
stream.
I can't stay for long.
Okay.
My leg is semi-working. I'm quickly going to the shops. Do you want anything, boys?
No, thank you.
No,
That
thank
would
you.
be okay.
Okay, no problem.
Cheers. Enjoy yourself.
Robert.
So
Drunk
yeah,
tweeting is great.
sorry.
Drunk tweeting is great.
Drunk tweeting.
Oh boy.
So
That could be
do
a
you
whole
wanna
video.
talk about that?
I mean, I don't tweet, I don't drink. I tweet a lot, I don't drink. I do half of those things.
Right.
I think the only person who can talk about that is you, Greg.
Do you want to? Well, I don't have an outsider's perspective.
Oh, as an outsider's perspective, it's fucking hilarious. Like I just watch it when he gets very drunk, like it just escalates to like just him going about how he loves everyone to just inflammatory statements that he doesn't quite mean, or just one thing once it was just you in a dress.
There was me in a dress.
But were you I'm not sure if you were sober for that. So,
no, I was drunk before I arrived.
Oh right, okay, yeah. So just Greg just like, I'm in a dress now.
Yeah.
And
So the way I see it is sort of leading back to what we were saying. I drink to get drunk, and a lot of freshers isn't about that, which is what's peculiar. And I guess it ties into more the English drinking culture, which is drinking is a social activity. But people somehow specifically turn that into drinking alcohol as a social activity when you can just, because I get it, having a drink in your hand and taking a sip whenever you're not talking, that kind of gets through any awkwardness of anything. But dude, beer, I just don't understand beer.
well, I believe it involves getting hops. Putting it in.
I understand the process.
You should do a chemistry lesson.
That's fine.
Is that what this stream is? Should I go?
No.
Okay.
So I want to know if anyone has any thoughts on drinking to get drunk, or and maybe how they've related that to their experience. So have either of you two, I forget where you are in life. You're both going to first year, aren't you?
Mm-hmm.
I am, yeah.
Okay. So Charlie, you're almost there. Ellen, you mentioned you're going through freshers?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't gone to many freshers events because I don't really do drinking. It's not like I don't drink ever, but I don't understand drinking to get drunk, and that seems to be like a lot of what freshers is. And I just don't think, like, that's not healthy for me. I really struggle with, like, my body doesn't like alcohol. It doesn't really like anything really, like caffeine or like any sort of stimulant or anything you put in it. So I just don't understand drinking to get drunk. It doesn't feel good for me. And I just don't understand the culture of it.
Right.
Like, I really do not comprehend it. So I'm sat there going, why are you doing this? I mean, I sound about 96, but I'm like, your poor liver.
I've seen Greg with the amount of vodka he drinks, and I feel liver. I really do.
You've seen me go from stone cold sober to on the floor.
We had the great idea of let's play a drinking game where Zed can't drink, so it's just Greg drinking every time he loses or wins. So regardless, he got smashed. So I'm just there laughing.
We're playing games that lasted like 5 minutes, and any time the game ended, I drank.
It's either one shot or two, depending on who won. So I mean,
yeah. But so drinking to get drunk, the way I see it is that I don't enjoy the feeling of being sober up here, but drunk everywhere else, because I start to feel embarrassed. Like, you know how people drink to loosen their nerves?
Mm.
Yeah.
I sort of have to cross a bridge. So I start sober and I'm like, I'm a little bit nervous, let's drink to loosen that. But then I get a little bit drunk and I start to realize that I'm not fully in control, so I get even more nervous. So I keep drinking, and then suddenly I stop caring. So that's what drinking to get drunk is.
dogs.
Excellent.
Yes. The chat is talking about
Okay, do you want to give us some comments?
some comments. So Dorothy, I think,
Yep.
says drinking to get drunk is fun. That's just about my gist of it.
Okay.
And it's just, that's actually just it. Also, Hannah again talking about how she's started practice on the day,
Okay.
and how pre-drinks is fun. If this was a lively and fairly sizable group of people.
Okay. That's true.
That's one thing I would also like. From what I've seen, like, I will go nowhere near clubs because I just don't like how loud it is. But like people getting drunk in the flat seems like a fun time.
So have either of you been clubbing?
Me?
Either of you?
No, never. And I'm like, I don't know if I'm going clubbing tonight, but I'm like going to a bar and then possibly going clubbing like an LGBT night. So this will be an experience. I don't know how I feel about it. Like, it's like as far away from my comfort zone as I could possibly humanly be.
Right, okay.
Ditto.
Fair. So I too don't really go clubbing that much. For me, it has to be a good club. Like I have to want to stay there all night, regardless of my soberness.
So basically, nowhere in Manchester.
Yeah, pretty much. Because I enjoy flat parties, and that's essentially what pre-drinking is. It's just a flat party with the intention of ending before 12. And that's because it's essentially just hanging out with your mates, playing games, and getting to know people. And there's the thing that I do want to progress onto, and that's essentially using Freshers Week for other purposes. Because there's a lot of pressure to attend parties. You will always get people going, oh yeah, I saw on Facebook, someone's got a flat party going on, let's head over to their flat. And then you get there and it's really nothing. And then someone's like, nah, mate, it's all the way over here, we've got to go. And then along the way, you're drinking a little bit, talking to people, and there's a lot of socializing pressure.
Mm.
Do you have anything to say about that, Ellen?
Yeah, socializing pressure and me don't get on. Maybe, I don't know if it's partially like an autistic thing, but like the having even not done freshers events and just the experience of being a fresher, I'm completely like on my knees with how like knackered I am. And like sure, I'm a bit more like susceptible to it than other people, but I'm so exhausted. I've done objectively nothing. I've done no nights out yet, really. I went to a bar the other night, and that was exhausting. And especially because you're not just doing stuff at night as well. Like, I've been doing inductions, I've been doing stuff in the day, which is arguably more important to my course and things like that. But there's so much pressure to socialize, and it's constantly being like, hi, who are you? What are you doing? What subjects are you doing? Where are you staying? And then just having to socialize constantly with new people and expect to then, like, form lasting relationships somehow. That is, I find it really bizarre. It's like almost like speed dating with friends.
Yeah.
And no one does that 7 days a night because it's knackering.
Right. There's freshers.
No one does 7 days a week of speed dating.
Never. No one does 7 days a week of anything. Like, to expect Freshers Week to happen and everyone to go out. I mean, some people do it, but then some people also jump off cliffs.
They also
For fun.
never die. Not die, but the entire next 2 or 3 weeks of uni just suck because they're sick, and then anyone that they talk to also gets sick. It's just a sad, sad time.
Exactly. So something like a skill you've got to pick up pretty quickly with Freshers Week is knowing where to go and when to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So you've got to.
You can go to the bars on Wednesday.
Yeah.
Sports teams.
Right.
This is a fuffle. So, like the event I'm just about to go to, the LGBT thing hired the event, and the sports teams are there, and it's all being a bit mucked around. So I'm about to like leave. I should probably clarify this. I'm about to go and do my first like sober socializing in a freshers environment. So we'll see how this goes.
Right. Let's speed run through some advice in that case.
Yes, please do.
Yeah. So my first piece of advice is have a drink in your hand, because the biggest cause of fresher pressure is.
Use the term.
I used the term we came up with in the pre-chat. The biggest cause of fresher pressure is looking like you're not doing anything. Because people will come up to you and go, oh, you're not having fun, simply because you're not drinking. Or maybe you're not playing one of the games, or just not talking to anyone. And the quickest way to divert that is to have a cup in your hand. Doesn't matter what it's full of, fill it with water. If you feel bad saying that it's full of water, say it's lemonade. Say it's lemonade vodka if you need to. I don't advocate lying to people, but if you need to tell a little white lie in order to feel comfortable, have some water. Tell someone it's not.
I mean, I don't remember the last time I've ever been to a party with someone. What are you drinking there?
Well, I mean,
have you ever had someone just go, Greg? I mean, I really want to know what you've got in the cup.
I'm trying to cover all my bases.
Okay, sure.
Anyway, But yeah, don't feel bad about just grabbing a cup of whatever. Just mixer. Mixer will be available. Other tip I would say would be figure out how to approach people and figure out how to go through the conversation. You'll have the same conversation every time, which is, especially for first years, which is, where'd you come from, what you're studying, and maybe a third one being like, where are you living, depending on your accommodation situation.
I think especially because we're in London as well, getting home is a thing.
Yeah.
That is not always sensible. And we've got like a lot of the halls are really far out, like in Stratford. So getting from Stratford to Central at night is not always fun.
Right, okay.
It takes people 2.5 hours to get home on the night bus.
London's like Manchester, but just bigger.
Well, I mean, like London universities. Like,
there's more of them.
Even though we're in Manchester, the university we're at isn't like a central kind of thing. So that's a different experience to us, if you want to give some clarification. Yeah. So yeah, Ellen, if you've got any kind of insight as to the travel thing you mentioned.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really lucky because I'm living in probably like the most central, like basically the best in terms of like location. But I know that a lot of people haven't got that. They've got like they're really, really far out, but also because the events are sometimes far away, I still have to like travel through London at night, sometimes alone. And even if you just go out in London to do anything, which is quite cool because there's opportunities, you know, to go and do stuff, you still have to kind of go around alone. I mean, the night tube isn't too bad from, you know, it seems to, and that's at the weekend, so that's not too bad. During weekdays, it can be a little bit more interesting, especially because like you don't necessarily want to be spending all your money on an Uber, but the bus lines don't necessarily run to and from, particularly at night, the university campuses, particularly if they're in weird places. So it can be a little bit daunting. So I think we sort of club together, move as one. But also what that does mean is that it's really difficult to leave early if you want to. For example, like I don't think tonight I'll be able to stay out until, I think it's like going on till 3 in the morning. I just don't think that's going to happen. I've been up since 6. But I don't want to come back on my own, like especially as like a young girl in London.
Of course.
Yeah, that's something that I've been really worried about. Like this is like tiny scale in comparison, but like my accommodation is like just 10 minutes from the university, and like it's a big, you know, campus university and everything. So technically really close. But the thing is that I probably won't want to stay out until like 2 or 3 a.m. Especially on like the first time I go clubbing. Like I have social anxiety. I probably like bar it at like midnight. But so the thought of like everyone else wanting to stay out until it's kind of finished and stuff, and them all being, you know, drunk or whatever, and then me having to find my way home in a place I don't really know very well, and all the traveling and all of that kind of stuff, that's more freaking me out more than the actual event itself.
That's fair. Yeah, that's totally fair. There's a lot, like, because pre-drinking is slightly different to like kind of house parties that a lot of people go to in their kind of mid-teenage years, in that it's followed up usually by going out clubbing, and B, you're in your own place. It's not, oh gosh, the parents and such. So people usually have less consideration for mess. You usually do a lot more. So yeah, it's interesting to think about.
Shit's crazy, yo.
That one.
Yeah.
Summed it up. Yeah, other advice.
There's advice here.
Yeah.
Stand in the middle of nowhere and just scream, and you'll be left alone. That's from Serenity.
That's
I
true.
probably spelled that wrong, but I mean, it would work. Maybe you wouldn't want it to work, but it would work.
So let's go for the opposite piece of advice, which is getting people to come up to you. or doing the opposite.
For me.
Because
If
You're
I
right,
seem
Helen?
to, I don't know if it's because people have like know me through group chats as kind of like the mom friend. I seem to have established myself as someone who knows things, and also because I got elected into the LGBT committee, that kind of people know who I am.
Yeah.
So like I'm actually the people I'm going with are the people who are like too shy to go to like the big, you know, with the big group. And they were like, "You seem nice," which
That's
is
fair.
quite nice in some ways. I don't know if that. Do I just attract people to me? Like,
I mean, quite
it's a way.
possible.
I mean,
So-
you know, Greg, you managed to struck up a conversation with me, and I didn't do too badly.
There you go.
Did we meet at a pub?
Yes, we met at a pub. So I think point proven.
Yeah, it's possible to, you know, make lasting friendships in a pub environment
There you go.
with people you've never met before. Anyway, on that note, I need to go to a bar
Go for it.
and take this together. Anyway,
Thanks for joining for the beginning. And if you're available at the end, you can join us for that.
is this going to be one of your long ones?
This is going to end at around 10-ish. However,
Cool.
there will be a post-stream hangout.
Cool, I might be joining the hangout.
Cool. Okay.
Anyway, au revoir.
Thank you for joining us. If anyone in the chat would like to hop on in, then pop us some messages and we'll continue the conversation.
Continue the conversation.
Yeah. So something I wanted to say is the piece of advice for getting people to talk to you or for just talking to people. And the main deal is, especially if you're a first year, everyone's in the same boat. Everyone is in this same environment of, oh God, I don't know anyone. I don't know what I'm doing. And the small talk is boring, right? Small talk sucks. So figure out a way to work through it.
And don't do what I did. Let's go home.
Don't go home.
Do not go home. Yeah? It puts you in a real, like, well, I know no one.
Yeah.
Until lectures start, and no one likes the people they talk to in lectures unless they're very odd like me. Even though I don't really like them that much. Society has fixed that, but I suppose.
Yeah. If anyone pops up being like, hey, let's join,
No one's popped up.
if they do. So what you want to do is, I mean, obviously just use your general normal human interaction skills, but some good things would be ask the right questions. If you go up to someone, first of all, try and go up to people who kind of look like they don't know what they're doing. Because if you go up to a group and try and insert yourself in the group, everyone knows how awkward that can be. But if you look around the room and you find someone who's also just looking around the room, walk up to them, say hi, introduce yourself, get through your basic small talk. Hi, I'm Greg, I'm studying English literature. I'm from the Midlands, way southerner.
Wait.
Way.
You're not southern.
No, but people from Manchester think I am.
Wait.
Way.
Oh God.
But then you ask them a question, because otherwise the conversation can peter out in no time. People say like, oh yeah, so is there anything going on? You going clubbing later? And it's boring conversation, vapid, whatever. So ask them something interesting. I tend to ask them what, like, one piece of media are you really passionate about? Because if you say, oh, what's your favorite film? Then people might just say Fight Club. And then you realize that they're boring and you don't want to talk to them.
Dorothy once said.
Oh, Dorothy. Okay.
Oh, person I don't know what Greg does.
You field the conversation while I invite Dorothy.
I field the conversation. Well, what was the conversation?
How do you approach people at flat
How
parties?
do you approach people at flat parties? I mean, my first flat party was very, like, nerdy. Like, no one drank at it, firstly. So that made it a lot easier. Like, but essentially, it was just like, hi, I'm Zaid. What's up? And I just sort of just, went on from there and just, you end up realizing a lot of people have stuff in common. Just like, oh, you like Fallout? I like Fallout. Let's talk about Fallout. And it's like,
Don't be afraid to seem weird.
Yeah.
Because you'll find someone just like you. It's university. There are so many people.
Just look at this kid.
Look at me. I've got pink hair.
He thought English literature was a viable subject.
I
Oh,
didn't.
I'm doing English literature as well.
Wow.
I didn't think it was a viable subject. I thought it was a good degree to get if you want to be an English teacher.
Yeah, that would be.
Fair.
Yeah. So figure out how to talk to people and have it not be boring small talk, because that's the way to make lasting relationships, is actually remember who people are. Because you'll find that if you attend a lot of flat parties over time, you'll get to know like a group of regulars who are essentially your neighbors, regardless of whether or not they live near you. I've got that. Me and my flatmates have an extended group of friends who we all have a group chat with on Facebook. Also, group chats are good. Make sure you're in some.
Yeah.
Do that.
Facebook makes a weird resurgence at uni. It's kind of weird. Like it dies in like secondary school and so it just comes back.
Yeah. Also, when you're introducing yourself to someone, regardless of level of drunk, there'll probably be music playing. So just hand them your phone and say, add me on Facebook. Of course, figure out whether or not they're going to steal your phone.
Yeah.
But get them to add you on Facebook, because then you don't have the awkwardness of, hi, what's your name? What's your name? Oh, yeah, okay, see you, bye.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Dorothy's here.
Oh, hello.
We will chat with Dorothy the moment she opens her mouth.
Yo.
Hi, how you doing, Dorothy?
Well,
Do you want to give us your sort of alcoholic experience?
Okay, so I have an echo just in my headphones. No, it's really pissing me off. 1 second.
Let me move my mic around here. There we go. Try and get it so the echo
Okay.
is deleted.
Nope.
Hello.
No, it's still there. But we're gonna flush with it. So I started drinking, or no, yeah, not young, but like typical like year 10, 11 time, whatever. I didn't get drunk. I still don't get drunk,
Okay.
but I can get drunk, if that makes sense. So, like, I have to be in the mood for it. Like, I'm a very like tired drunk sometimes. So like if I'm not in the mood to have fun, you are gonna know about it. I'm gonna make your life a living hell. So I'm a very like casual drinker.
Okay.
Therefore I'm like the designated like drunk friend.
Okay.
Because I'm not drunk, but like I've drank, but I can still look after you, which is really
Okay.
annoying.
So that's an interesting topic, which is the sober friend. Like, regardless of how drunk you actually are, if you're the most sober one in the room, you're the sober friend.
Mm-hmm.
That's something that I really don't want to get labelled.
Right, okay.
I don't want to have to look after everybody or have that kind of responsibility.
Right. I find that like if you're not, and I kind of went to get my pasta, so I don't know what your thing is, but if you're not going out like to clubs, etc., there's not much pressure to be the sober friend, like especially now that everyone's 18 and not throwing up in like bathrooms of people's houses, that people go out now. So like there's less pressure to be the sober friend if you're not going to go out to clubs. If you do go out to clubs, whether you want to or not, you are going to be the sober friend just because protective instincts will kick in. Like even when I'm like tiddly, if I'm at a club, I am so protective of my friends just because like it's just something you'll do, trust me. So like if you're at a club, no way to avoid being that friend, but like pre-drinks, house parties, totally avoidable. They're not your mess.
What I have just realised is that, ironically, there is pre-drinks going on right now. So we're going to try and ignore that.
He's right next to the door as well. I mean, that's just hilarious.
Yeah. Whoops. But yeah, sober friend. So if you're the kind of person who enjoys the humour in watching drunk people be drunk and doesn't particularly mind taking care of them when they inevitably fall on the ground, then you're good. You'll be fine. But if you're not, then How do you feel, Zaid? Are you a sober friend?
Greg, I'm your sober friend.
No, I get that, but like in your flat.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I last year I had a friend come back exceptionally drunk from a night out, and like he called me at like 2 a.m. I was just playing video games, and like in the kitchen he'd like cut up his feet with some glass he'd broken. He'd somehow flipped the sofa whilst drunk. It was a strange experience. He owed me lots of free stuff because I basically made sure he didn't bleed out in the kitchen. It's quite funny, actually.
Good job.
Yeah.
That's not a regular experience. I've never had to deal with anyone having glass in their foot.
I mean, if you have,
I've had to put like recovery position quite a lot.
That's a good thing to memorize, is basic first aid, but not like applying things, just like recovery position and drink water. And also Miriam's here. Hello, Miriam.
Hey, Miriam.
I am on my phone again, so I'm gonna have to talk like this.
Yeah, Miriam has to talk into the phone mic anytime she wants to participate like this, which is quite amusing.
because forehead.
Because forehead. I would argue that we know Miriam's forehead better than we know any of the rest of her.
And her good enough t-shirt.
Yeah.
Those two aspects.
True.
Can we
So,
appreciate
Miriam,
the Arno's
you
here?
Your alcoholic experience.
Oh boy.
Oh, did he just ask me what my alcoholic experience was?
Yes.
Yes.
So history with drinking, history with being around drunk people. There you go.
All right. So firstly, I am Muslim and I'm raised in like a Muslim family, so nobody drinks in my family, and drinking would be like a big deal as well if someone did. So I don't have a lot of history with people who are drunk at all. Like I've never been even in a car
I
with a
envy
drunk
you.
person.
How I envy you.
I mean, yeah, like as I grow up, I'm kind of like, oh, it's kind of nice actually that I've never had to deal with it. And then personally, I also don't drink. Earlier, like I wouldn't have cared, but now I've kind of decided, I don't really want to drink, even though I don't care what other people do, basically.
That's a good way to think about it.
Have you ever been the sober friend?
The thing is, yes, but at the same time, because of my personality, that doesn't really make me like the boring friend, if that makes sense.
Because you're
So I
so
feel like I
charming and charismatic.
I mean, it's more like because I'm more of a ditz and like, I mean, nobody calls me boring, basically, and I think that's what people mean when they say sober.
Yeah, I get you there. Don't worry. So that's fair. So does anyone have any general pieces of advice? I recognise we might be going back over things, but we're getting new people in, so new perspectives. Does anyone have any advice for socialising without drinking? Like pre-drinks?
Okay. I have a lot to say about this.
Oh, here we go.
Oh boy.
One sec, let me just reply to this message.
Dorothy with opinions.
Buckle up.
I have lots of opinions. So, if you're going to go to pre-drinks and try to socialize, first things first, know that you're probably not in the best setting to make like good friends, is my thing. Like, especially, so like in situations in which if other people aren't drinking as well, that's fine, like whatever. But like if everyone is drinking and you are not, like chat, you can chat to people. But like if they're like in sesh mode, probably not the best time to like, so what are your political opinions? What do you think? How do you think the world began? Yeah. So that's the first thing. Second thing is that everyone is so much friendlier at pre's. So like just in any situation, I think that is probably the best place to break the ice. Like I said, you're probably not going to make lifelong friends, but you then have a conversation starter for the next time that you see each other. So I think even going to pre-drinks, even if you don't drink, is good. 3, there's always going to be a person that's drinking, but not like 10 shots in, woo, 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 frat boys, whatever. there's always going to be like one person like that, and that's a good person to like stick with for the night, because you know that that's like a safety blanket. But don't just stick with that one person for the rest of the night, because they also want to socialize with other people. So those are kind of like my thoughts about like pre-drinks when you're sober. Going to a club sober isn't awful if you have like the personality for it. Like, I personally don't have the personality for it, but like I know other people that do go clubbing and they do enjoy going clubbing sober. So just because you don't drink, don't think that like automatically rules you out from like certain party situations. So like not all freshers events are in clubs, but like they are, some of them, like they're still parties, for example. So like I think you can still enjoy those because it's not the same like grimy atmosphere.
Such a good word for it.
I agree with you. You just said, yeah, I agree with that. Pre-drinks are the chill part of the evening anyway. He always talks a lot during.
Yeah.
Yes.
When does Arno shut up, though, is the question.
That is the better question.
When do you shut up, Arno? Tell me in the chat and I'll yell at Greg.
Yeah. So what you touched upon was having a starting point and how people are more friendly at prees. People are actively looking to socialize, especially at freshers when nobody knows each other. So never be intimidated by anyone. The worst that can happen is they just seem a bit rude, and then you go, well, I didn't want to be a friend anyway. And you become a child.
I mean, that's a little petty.
I am a little petty. But it's the best way, I feel, because you'd be going from party to party, from possibly clubbing, if you want to go clubbing, to like an SU party. I'm not answering the door. Okay, be quick. Hold on, because they'd field it.
I will field it. I can't remember what Greg was talking about. So alcohols. Much the same. Oh, it's gone. Oh.
Yes.
By the way, who are you?
Who am I? I'm Greg's token Asian Muslim friend Zaid.
He's always in the chats.
I'm always in the chat, but now I'm back at uni. I'm
Assalamu
literally here
alaikum.
as Greg's assistant friend.
Can we not have...
I pity you being his friend, like having to actually be in close proximity to him.
Greg's a great guy.
Yeah.
We spent all day on the phone.
Okay. We've done a lot.
We've done a lot today.
We're good friends. I don't use him as my secretary.
No, he doesn't. No, it's just
You offered this.
I did.
This is like slavery, isn't it? Like,
let's move swiftly on. Wow.
Greg is not racist.
Let's move
I'm
swiftly.
the evidence of that.
That is tokenism. Crikey. Anyway, drinking, right? Where were we?
Right.
So, yeah, people will want to talk to you. If you feel like someone just isn't your kind of person, that will become immediately evident when drink is involved. And so it's a good way to sort of field the room, I guess. So you talk to just as many people as possible, introduce yourself, be friendly, make an impression, whether it's good, bad, silly, serious, whatever. As long as you've made an impression, people will remember you, so that next time you can approach them and be like, hey, I was the person that did this. And then the real friendship can begin.
you know what? Maybe not. You said silly, crazy, serious, whatever, anything. Maybe not anything.
Maybe don't introduce yourself as something.
A raging
racist,
a huge homophobe.
Hi, I'm Greg, and I eat actual children.
It's a habit of his.
I don't.
I've been trying to kick it. I've got patches, but like,
it's just not working.
It's got baby patches. It just helps babies.
Yeah, like try and make a good first impression, obviously, but don't put too much pressure on yourself that you talk yourself out of chatting with people, because
I disagree. I think first impressions are overrated.
I think that's what I'm saying, just I'm saying it poorly.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, you said
So-
make a good first impression, and I'm like, first impressions are completely
Right.
overrated. Because I make a horrendous first impression.
Well, yes, obviously, you start by just insulting people. Duh.
That's just you.
Oh, okay, cool.
It's
But-
interesting. Sorry, just to like barge in.
Yeah.
It's interesting that you say that because when I was looking at like the freshest tickets and what to buy and stuff, one of the ones that I went for was the one that's on Saturday night. So the first night when I move in my like anxiety perfect world time that I wouldn't be going to a club on the first night of moving to university. I'd want to take some time and like settle in. But my head was like, Charlotte, you need to make a good first impression. You need to say to these people that you, even though you don't drink, you are a fun time. So you should go to that club straight away and like get it out of the way so people know that you go out, even if it's not every night kind of thing. So yeah.
I don't know. I think that the entire like concept of first impressions is like one that we put too much pressure on. So like I had this, my student ID picture gets taken on the day that I arrived. So on Saturday when I arrived, my student ID picture gets taken. And like, I was like looking at all the other girls that I'm sharing, like there's 2 other girls that I'm sharing a flat with, 3 boys as well. But like the 2 other girls are like super pretty and they like all like, they seem kind of like, put together. And like all their pictures on like Instagram or Facebook or whatever. And I know that's like the edited world, but like, you know, they're just like super pretty. So I was like, got to make like a really good first impression, blah, 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 blah. But through 5 years of high school, so year 7 to 11, I looked like a slob. And then prom, I like looked less than a slob.
Less than
and,
a
like,
slob.
that.
New Twitter bio.
And that like cancelled out anyone's like ideas of like what I actually was like. If that makes sense. Like that took 5 years, but it took 5 years of me hating them all. So like I wasn't actively trying to like make friends with them. But like
Right.
that's like the idea that like first impressions are completely like irrelevant because for 5 years they had this impression of me that was like one thing, and then in 6th form they all like changed that completely and like all wanted to be friends with me. That's why I think first impressions are like completely overrated. And that we put too much emphasis on them.
I think it also ties into age, and I'll tie this in. Don't you worry. So a lot of the time it can be if you're just starting uni, if you're 18 years old, fresher. It can feel like the first impression you have to make is that I'm fun. Oh, we've got Dorothy's wonderful guest. Hello, how you doing? I'll continue my point. Whereas your first impression can be anything. It can be anything and still be good. So what I did, because I didn't want to go clubbing, just haven't. I went out clubbing like 5 times that entire year. I was like, right, I'm going to come to the pre-drinks, we're going to socialise, but then I'm going to stay behind and bake cookies so that when you return, you have cookies and drunk you will bloody love these cookies. And guess what? They love the
That's
cookies.
a good idea.
That's the
yeah.
best idea I've ever
And
heard,
it's a first
honestly.
impression, right? It's something that I've never heard anyone else say. And I'm sure other people do it, but it's a pretty good idea. Just, you can figure out alternate ways to make impressions on people, because at the end of the day, we're all human, and a lot of freshers' attitude comes from people's age, which is, woo, we're 18, we can legally just do whatever, let's make the most of it and fall into a stereotype.
See, that's interesting because I am younger than you. I am
Yes.
just 18. Problem is, I don't look 18,
No.
which means people just assume I'm not. So I'm just like, yeah, I'm fresher. And they're like, no, you're not. They're like, yes, I am. So it's just this weird sort of, even though I am the same age as like people, because they don't assume you to be the same age. Often, like, when it comes to like flat pines and stuff, you tend to like get really avoided. It's like, oh, this is the weird old guy. It's like, I'm not old, I just have a beard.
Yeah. Whereas
I'm the opposite.
21, and people are like, so you first year? And I'm like, no. No.
I'm the complete opposite. People think I'm like,
no.
Second. What are you saying, Dorothy?
people think I'm like 15. So it's great. I got new glasses in hopes that they made me look more mature. Because like my other glasses made me look a bit like, they like made me like look really cute and like, oh. And added to that like entire like vibe that people think I'm 15. So it's great.
That's fair.
So
It
about
is.
impressions.
Okay, Mariam.
So I agree with Dorothy in general that I think we put too much pressure on first impressions because you don't really decide whether you're going to be friends with someone based on a first impression anyways. But I think it is important to at least give the impression that you're someone that they can actually talk to. Because if you like see someone a few times but you guys never talk to each other or never exchange any sort of eye contact, it kind of like builds up to this intimidating thing where you think that that person would not want to like converse with you at all.
Agreed. Yeah, if you can, it comes back to what I said about neighbours, about having this group of sort of associated people with your flat, who you might see without drinking. Like later on in the year, you might start to just invite them to other things. Case in point, we all kind of enjoy throwing a football around, an American style football. And so we would literally just go to the nearby park, throw it around, have a good time. Occasionally, yeah. Occasionally we'd invite a few of them literally for dinner. Like it sounds like such simple ideas that your parents have been doing for years, but it's because it works. And uni culture seems so party mad that you can forget how nice it is just to have a meal with someone or a cup of tea and a biscuit. Like you don't have to have alcohol in your life in order to make friends.
Yeah, I
Can we do a
recently.
live stream?
Sorry.
I was just going to say, can we do a live stream for people that don't drink tea? aka me. How do you make then?
Pakistani guy doesn't drink tea.
Continue, Charlie.
Sorry, I've just completely forgotten my train of thought. What were you saying
Damn
before?
it.
What were you
Before
saying?
we're talking about people.
Oh,
we have
I'm back. I'm back.
Cool.
I found the other day. I found like Facebook events for my university of like well, they're not. They haven't been labelled as sober events, but they kind of are. That's kind of the implied thing, which is literally like either a barbecue or like this thing which is like a table for six, and you like go on your own or with a friend or whatever, and you just get put on a table with six random people that you've never met before, and you just kind of have a meal with them, and you know that can form friendships and stuff and all that sort of stuff, which is really cool, and like I'm definitely going to get involved with. But that whole thing with first impressions joint with freshers feels like you need to make the fun impression for it to be the right one. I don't know, I just feel like I need to show people that I'm not just going to be in my room all year. I don't know.
I have a bit of advice for that. Obviously, it depends on your setup, depends on your accommodation setup. However, there is one key way to get across to people that you're not going to stay in your room all year, and that's by opening your door. It's very dependent on who your flatmates are, how well you get along with in general, and how private some of them are. But what I found with mine was that we all stayed up into the wee hours of the night and just enjoyed wandering around. And so we would all leave our doors open until we went to sleep, basically, and started like dipping our toes in at first. But by the end of the year, we were just going to each other's rooms at any point of day, just being like, hey, I'm bored, talk to me. And the best way, if you wanted to shut the door and have some private time, that's fine. But the best way to indicate that you're sociable is to body language with every aspect of your life.
Or you just chill in the kitchen.
Or you just chill in the kitchen. Sometimes your communal room / kitchen may not be really well suited for that. But if it is, then just literally bring your laptop in there, set yourself up on the sofa, and do what you would have done, like scroll through Twitter, but just in the living area, because it'll invite more people to go in and be social.
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing is a lot of people, especially when you start university, think that a lot of these friendships come because of alcohol, but it's really like the repeated contact with people, the fact that you're seeing them over and over again. So if you're trying to navigate through university without drinking a lot, the like key thing is that you have to sort of replace those drunk moments with moments that you're sober, but you're still seeing people repeatedly.
Miriam, are you covering the mic? Because it was a little bit quiet.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, that it suddenly just goes into a weird mumble.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
better.
Okay, that was just my voice. Never mind.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like my experiences with socializing are very different. I just like I don't know. I'm very nervous about going because like although I do drink and stuff like that, but like I don't know. It's like one of those things where I'm like I am an extroverted person. Like according to the Myers-Briggs test, I am an extroverted person. But like in social situations, I make lots of friends. But then I feel like everyone's gonna like make friends and then like kind of like pick them out during like the rest of the year. But I see myself at the end of fresh as just being so burnt out. And then it's like my first impression, we're back to impressions. My first like one will be great, and then like I'm just gonna burn out and not like be able to make friends afterwards. That's like my fear.
Right.
Yeah, I completely get that. Like when I started sixth form, I slightly different, but I was like, okay, I have to make friends. Sixth form, gotta do this. So I just became really confident for some reason. When I first meet people, it's really weird. I just get this weird confident thing, and I just kind of blabber to people, and people seem to find that funny, and I make quite a good first impression, and then like the next day I'll be so exhausted from having like putting so much pressure on myself to make such a good first impression that then I'm like a completely different person, and I then people just kind of slip from your fingers. It's a bit like, oh, okay, no, that didn't turn into a friendship. Okay, it's a bit weird.
What I would suggest with regards to freshers in particular is have a midweek break. Like agree with yourself beforehand that whatever's going on the Wednesday, that's your day, because it establishes early on that you are someone who enjoys peace and quiet. It allows you to recharge before ending the week on a high, if that's what you want to do. And it also means that you're just not spending any money on Wednesday. Like there's another thing to consider, is that freshers does cost money.
That would be great and all, but I have major FOMO. Major.
Right, here's the thing about freshers and FOMO. Nothing interesting happens. Like freshers is what you make of it, and because of the structure of the events, it's just a flat party. Like the worst that'll happen is you miss someone doing something stupid. You have an entire.
That's what I live for. That's what I live for.
But then you can get the secondhand gossip and talk about it. It's great. But that's what the rest of the year is.
I'm not a second-hand gossip type of person, Greg, okay? I'm a first-hand gossip type of gal. Okay.
Dorothy, that was a good pun. Dorothy,
my entire branding in sixth form was that I was Gretchen Wieners. My hair was so big because it was full of secrets, okay? Like, I had every single piece of gossip. So.
Well, maybe that's just an issue with you.
That's true.
Zaid, has there been any comment things that?
Yeah, Arno.
Well, there's
it's just
people
Arno.
that you like. They like you when you're not overselling yourself. That's from Arno. And you said FOMO. I don't know what FOMO is.
Regards to fear of missing out.
Ah, okay. And there's always next event.
Yeah, there's always. You've got an entire 3 years, depending on your course.
Speaking of someone who missed out on most flat parties, like almost all of them, except for like a selected few people that I like. The closest friends where I feel terrible if I didn't turn up. Like, there's not much you miss out on. Like, and even so, like, sometimes the stuff comes to you, like my flatmate just bursting in drunk and just smashing the kitchen up, or him turning up drunk and wrestle with the massive guy in our flat, just play fight with him, like knocking on his door, like, I want to fight. I really want to fight. You know, he's a great guy, Chris.
Good.
I haven't met him, but he's a great
I have a question. So I know people in the UK drink a lot. But, like, where I live, firstly, I mean, we drink plenty, too, but not as much in the UK. But, like, drinking and getting high goes hand in hand here. What's it like over there?
Oh,
if you live in the north of England, they go hand in hand. I'm not so sure about the south.
I'm the wrong guy to ask because I just don't tend to. Right, okay. So my close circle of friends doesn't tend to do much with regards to drugs, like a little bit of weed here and there, but not like mad cat parties.
Oh yeah, like for the record, like it's always weed.
We have different upbringings, gregamiah.
Yes, we do.
Not that I'm not saying that I'm like a cat head, but like people around me.
Yeah. I know a few people who have a good time.
Oh boy.
Oh boy. And like, so I'm vaguely aware of that process, but it's certainly not my experience. And I don't know enough to be able to comment on like how prevalent that is. But
Okay,
it's just
so
an elevated experience from
Yeah,
what I know.
I have friends that, in sixth form, they'd have a thing for going to a swamp, getting very drunk, and then getting very high in a swamp.
Shrek?
Swamp party.
Shrek 5?
Shrek 5.
Shrek 5. Shrek goes to
all
rehab.
grown up.
They call it a swamp. It wasn't a swamp. It was a bit of forest in the park. They called it a swamp because they had a small little pond.
There's no.
They called it a swamp, and it's like, oh, you want to go swamp? And it was like, you're getting high and drunk in the middle of fucking nowhere. What are you doing?
Nice.
Nice.
Dorothy?
Okay, so where I live, it is very easy. I like how you all like stopped at weed. Like we have like cat heads, MD. Those are like the three most popular. People do branch out, but like as for popularity, weed, cat, and MD. So, a lot of the people I went to school with, they were all like really big into MD or cat. So like whenever they went out, they would have cat and stuff. Like I once went to I didn't go to a gig with them, but I went to go see Two Door Cinema Club, and they happened to be seeing Two Door Cinema Club, and half of them were just off their nut from cat and MD, and like it's just like a thing they do, like parties. They'll like drink, and then like afterwards they'll be like, let's go do some MD. I had this boy, we had these like sixth form socials where people just got drunk and stuff. This boy literally did cocaine in a bathroom. Yeah, it's
He wants to die.
so like where I'm from, it's like the drug drinking culture is very prevalent, especially Leeds Fest. It's like a festival that happens here every year. Like it's quite a big thing. But the good thing about it is that you can completely avoid it. And like it's like in the sense that you don't have to do it yourself. So I do think there's quite like a lot of social pressure to drink sometimes, but like when it comes to doing things like drugs, there's like no social pressure whatsoever. People just decide if they do or don't want to do it. So like most of my group, we kind of stay away from that kind of thing. But I do know that like from being the like drunk but not too drunk friend, effects of taking drugs and drinking together are the worst, in my opinion. Like if you're going to do both heavily, like that just makes for a very messy night.
You just don't do both.
Good advice is don't do both.
My New Balance that somebody vomited on will attest to that. Had to put them in bicarb for like 3 days to get the smell out. It was fun.
I had flatmates last year that occasionally I walk into the kitchen, it was just a cloud. So like, you know, they'd come back in the morning, there's just sick everywhere. I'm just like, wow. Don't do your drugs with your alcohols, kids.
Don't do drugs, kids.
I mean, if you want to do drugs, I don't approve.
Not kids.
Adults, young adults.
Young adults.
Prescription drugs are great.
Prescription, oh yeah, paracetamol.
But don't mix. So during results day, I was on cocodamol.
Sure.
It's like a mix of codeine and paracetamol.
Cool.
Because I was having debilitating back pains. Like I didn't go out to the club. We just went for drinks. But like results day, couldn't drink because some prescription drugs you're not allowed to do alcohols with. also I have a friend called Alex who took paracetamol or ibuprofen and drank heavily, got a liver ulcer or a stomach ulcer. So that was wild.
Be sensible, kids. Yeah. So freshers, right?
Stomach ulcers, right?
Whoa. Yeah. What haven't we covered already?
I like that Arno, the Dutchman, is. I was like, hate the smell of weed, but I really want to have a weed brownie. I don't know. And he was like, weed brownies walk. Oh, work. Oh, I don't know why that wasn't registering as the word work in my mind. I was like, what is he trying to say there?
That's right.
But you can still smell it the next day because it's in your system longer. Never seen anyone use cat. And I'm like, you live in the Netherlands, okay? Like, is that just not like the biggest drug haven in the world?
I know, like your question, can we get our drugs tested in the UK? I mean, they're mostly illegal, so I'd say no.
Yeah.
Like, purity, I mean,
It would be difficult to go down to your local corner shop and say, "Hi, here's some marijuana. Do you want to test it for me?"
And they're like, yeah, sure. Just take a seat over there.
Yeah.
I'm just calling the number.
Yeah. How many marijuanas do I have here?
So exactly how much marijuana do you have? What 3,000 K? Okay, just let me call it in to the big guy in the sky.
Yeah. So, social pressures. I do want to mention that you do have your entire uni experience to make friends. There's a lot of pressure put on Fresher Week. As this is your socializing time, better make some good friends. Not bad.
The week straight after, there's all the societies, and like, I didn't see Gregory in Freshers Week. I met him at Anime Society briefly, and then didn't see him. Debating. I was like, oh hey, I know you. You're that crazy ginger kid. And then that's just how a beautiful friendship was born.
You are
No,
I mean, yeah, 100%. You're gonna make friends outside of what you guys call Freshers Week. I think we just call it Welcome Week or something. Especially because like you'll end up making friends.
You're mumbling again, love.
It's like hearing a voice. Oh my god!
Can you hear me now?
Small mouse.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, it is literally just me mumbling, I think. Anyways, I mean, you're going to 100% make friends outside of Freshers Week. So, like, often when you're at uni, your job will be something that is close by to your university, like, workplace. So you'll probably meet someone there. Like, and then based on your assignments, you're just going to have to meet people. So, just chill, I guess.
I plan on joining one society and maybe two, and making friends there, hopefully.
Which ones?
Netball, and it's not really a society, it's a sports team, but netball and the ACS, which is the African Caribbean Society.
Society of Salford.
Yeah, I've never heard it abbreviated before.
I mean, it's always best because I just joined every single society. Like, I've had to drop a few, like Labour, but I've kept the ones I like debating. But it just works because now second years come around, there's a whole batch of freshers that we're going to be like, hey.
We spent 5 hours today yelling at freshers to join the debate society. So that's a good way of making friends.
Yeah.
I might join the Model UN Society.
The Model UN Society?
I did that in year 10.
What kind of crazy fancy uni are you going to?
It's just really funny. No, I did that.
Go for it.
I was like, I hope I don't get Israel. And I put my hand in the basket and pulled out the name, and like it just read Israel. He knew my feelings on Israel was like burst out laughing. And I was like, fuck's sake. And what's even worse is I was stuck with an Israeli. So I couldn't even be sarcastic about it. I had to genuinely pretend I liked Israel.
Oh no!
Israel. I mean,
That's the experience.
they're a lovely country, not suffering any political turmoil whatsoever.
Totally fine. Totally. I'm derailing this significantly. Let's get back on topic of alcohol.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to go, guys. Sorry, I'm gonna have to go.
Goodbye, Charlie.
Have a good time, Charlie. Thank you for joining us. I hope this has been informative.
It's been very, very helpful. Thank you very much. Goodbye.
Oh, Greg, I'm getting slightly off topic. Do you remember the what's it called? Apple crumble guy.
Yes.
Yeah. He sent me a message the other day being like, so are you free anytime in the no, it was like 2 weeks ago. Like, are you free anytime in the next like week and a half before you go? I was like, I'm just a little busy. I'm just like a little busy working and packing. I quit my job at the start of September. But like, that took me like 5 days to respond to. So then he responded to me like 2 hours later. And then yesterday, after another like 4 days, I finally replied. He was like, oh, do you not have any free time? I was like, no. He hasn't.
That's an interesting thing, is talking about free time.
Anyways.
Dorothy, we'll discuss more on that later. So bringing it back, talking about free time, don't be afraid to tell people no. Don't be afraid to allocate free time, and certainly don't try and do too much, because you will burn yourself out, you'll put too much stress on yourself, and it's not worth it in the end.
Personally, I take the view of what doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
That's, I mean, sure.
Yeah, I'd like to be here.
Turn down the pub.
Or turn down for what?
Turn down
Turn
for
down
what?
for what?
Turn down for live streams. Whoa.
Start headbanging, but it didn't happen.
No, I'm
I was
not.
ready to.
I'm not that
You're not that intense.
that intense.
Well,
Yep. So saying no to people, it can seem a bit like, oh, I'm sorry to be a letdown, but just fake a phone call if you need to. Just be like, oh no, I'm needed back at the flat. Like, something's gone wrong. I don't quite know what it is. Because no one's going to question that. It's like saying that you've got family plans. Just saying that you're needed back at the flat. People will understand if you don't want to do something, even if they're a little bit pushy. And if they don't understand, then fuck them. Why do you want to be friends with them anyway? So,
I mean, the thing with
Yeah, don't do that. Don't sleep with them.
Miriam, you're mumbling.
Sleep with them. Oh, okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Oh, okay, so I guess it's also positioning. Now you can't see my forehead at all.
nice ceiling.
So the thing with thanks. The thing with saying no is don't like hem and haw over it. Just say no. And if they ask why, the reason. Because like the longer you draw it out, the worse it gets.
Oh, like me rejecting this guy. I
Yeah.
should have just said no. To
Yes.
Because then people start to question, like, oh, is something wrong? And then they start to worry if it's something with them. Just be like, yo, can't do it. We'll arrange something else. Yeah, I think that's all the advice I have on that particular topic.
Quati says, I've had it before. I really didn't want to go out, but I did anyway. And they were the best times I've ever had.
Right.
Yeah, no, it's like
Also-
sometimes like don't like there are some times that like I feel like it's good to go out and like push yourself out of like your comfort zone a little, explore things, do things, because like, it's fun to do things. Like there's a difference between taking like a mental health time, like, and like practicing some self-care and doing things for you and knowing that like you're not in like the best state to go out and stuff, but then there's also like you're just avoiding social situations, and that's being detrimental to your mental health, because like you're like pushing yourself out of like doing things with people, and in that like case then I just say like go for it. You might
How many
have
times have you seen people tweet, me never goes out, me, why does everyone hate me? Like, Exactly. So don't be afraid to say no when you need to, but also don't be afraid to say yes, because it can lead to genuinely unexpected events. And largely the worst that can happen is you have a boring evening.
And if that
Yeah.
happens, go home. Like, if it's a boring
Yeah.
evening, you can just go home, but, like, at least you know that you tried. And, like, people will appreciate the fact that you tried more than, like, you just being like, I don't want to go out.
Exactly.
Yeah, like I feel like a good question to ask yourself is A, are you not going because you're afraid? B, are you not going because you're exhausted? Because there's a lot of types of exhausted. And then the third one is like the most important, which is like, if you go, is it actually going to like affect your day in any bad way? Because if you have something going on, or if like you've been to a lot of places, then it will affect you negatively. But if it's just like you're not willing, it's not going to make a difference. So go ahead.
So Zaid, we recently had an applicable situation, which was we were all gathered, me, him, and a few friends, were all gathered in my living room, and we got a knock on the window because we're on the ground floor.
Oh, right, yeah.
And the person was like, yo, can you just let us in? I forgot my key. Like, they had a group of friends with them. They were planning a flat party. And then this person recognized me. It was like, oh, Greg, do you want to come to my flat party? And I was like, well, I mean, we've kind of got plans, but I might join you in a bit because I like just saying maybe if it's not too detrimental. And then when our plans ended, the flat party was still going on. And I was like, I've never been on a flat party with this person. I don't know the rest of their friends, but I've already got friends here. We can just join, and the worst that can happen is we leave after 5 minutes. And what happens, Zaid?
Well, we went upstairs, you knocked on the door, and she was like, oh my God, I can't believe you came. And then she gave you a hug.
Guys, I'm just going to bow up for a second. I'll be back.
Have fun, Dorothy.
Terrifying. It was a case of like, oh, we all went up there, and she gave people awkward hugs, and I'm not a fan of hugs to people I don't know. But
She's a hugger.
She is a hugger. And we walked in, and then suddenly I'm like, my course mate, who I haven't seen for like 3 months. How are you doing? And I just gave him a massive hug like we were brothers, because, you know, we are. Yeah. But yeah, we just turned up, and it just turned up, oh, people we know.
Yep. And then, like, the party was dead,
Very.
and they were just going to go clubbing, which I said no to in the end. But it was a fun experience.
Yeah. I mean, I disappeared after about 20, 30 minutes, but I mean,
Yeah.
that's mostly because I wanted to sleep, man.
Yeah, exactly. Like, we had a good experience from saying yes on a whim to something that didn't end up being all that good, but we had fun. So never be afraid to say yes, is what I'm saying there.
Yeah.
Anything from the chat?
No, nothing new.
I'm in a union, which helps.
I mean that's from earlier. But,
Yeah,
I
that's
read that he said.
from earlier. I've heard it before. It doesn't really work.
You know what else helps? Like a lot of the times the various clubs or the student union have these events which are like they're very much events. Like it might be like, oh, you're gonna go to a trampoline park, or like there's always like a society who does a bunch of like hiking and canoeing and all of that. Like those things guaranteed like most people are going to be sober and it's still going to be fun and it's probably really cheap. So that's also like a nice way to meet people.
Yeah, that's fully agreed. Figure out other ways. Specifically, I had a situation whereby if you've got a small course, then you can become friends with your course mates quite easily. But sometimes if it's a bigger course and the lectures are more what you'd see in movies of just people upon people with one lecturer and blah, 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 then it can be a little bit intimidating to try and talk to someone because you aren't going to talk to them during. Have we got a comment?
Quirky says, is it paused just for him? Is it still working, probably? Like, on our end?
We are still good.
We are still good. Maybe it's just him. Okay, maybe it's you.
Maybe. So, where was I? Yeah, lectures. Sometimes you're not going to talk during lectures. And I certainly found that people ended up sitting in the same place each time. So that's not good for socializing. And after the lecture, people are just going to go home or go to wherever they're going next. So if you end up having, say, a 2-hour lecture, they'll put a 15-minute, 10-minute break in between. Use that opportunity. Maybe just catch someone as they're going down to go to smoke or to go to grab something from the vending machine or whatever. Just catch them and be like, hey, we're doing the same course. What do you think on this topic? Maybe I'm struggling with it. Or what's your favorite book? Because I'm a literature student. Like, I can just ask that. It can seem very intimidating.
What's your favorite rock? Is my case.
Yeah, as a geography student. So do you like sedimentary
Oh,
rock?
I prefer metamorphic, mate.
Oh, no.
Igneous for me.
There you go. So don't be afraid to talk to people in a situation where everyone is afraid to talk to everyone, you know? And what I realized was that I had a situation where someone I wanted to start to talk to, I just felt very intimidated to actually go up to them because they were always like surrounded by friends. And so over the Christmas holidays, it was like midnight. I was like, what could possibly go wrong in this lecture theatre of 200 people? Oh no, I don't talk to one of them because I made a bad first impression. So I literally just messaged them saying, hey, we're on the same course. You seem cool. Tell me about yourself.
I feel like that would be a really awkward thing to message someone.
It's a very awkward thing to message someone. I was terrified. I immediately put my phone on lock and went to sleep. And then in the morning, they were like, oh, hey, how you doing? I've seen you around as well. And now we're very good friends, and she's invited me to go to various social events.
Nice.
So don't be afraid to put yourself out there, because honestly, nothing much bad will happen if you've already got friends.
Okay, so this is one for people who aren't in university yet, but they're about to go to university. Before you go, sometimes the universities actually have like special programs. So for example, one that's close to where I live, UBC, for first years, if there's like a special science or art cohort where like it's a bunch of people who take basically the same classes. So it's kind of similar to high school in like you're generally seeing the same 60 people in each class. So like there is more of like that bonding, but at the same time, because you're in university, you're also going to see people outside of it. So there's that option. And there's also stuff like, for example, there's a lot of commuter students at this university. So they also have this like specific space that you pay like a small fee at the beginning of the year. And then you can use that space after classes. And then you see all these like commuter students who are, because usually when you're commuter students, it's like a lot of the stuff on campus happens after class. But if you have to go home, you miss out on a lot. So that like created a space for them to sort of like meet each other and make plans outside of school. So also check with like your university, because a lot of times they do have like some sort of option.
All of that is pretty damn solid advice. Yeah. Long story short, there are plenty of avenues for socializing that don't involve alcohol, and even the ones that do, you don't have to drink. You can just
sit down with a cup and look odd.
Yeah, sit there with a cup.
The thing is, like, you kind of have to stop being afraid of being boring just because you're not drinking.
Yeah.
Like, you're not here to entertain other people, okay? Like, that's nice, but you're really here to, like, enjoy yourself. So, like, don't try to, like, even if you're not drinking, it does not mean you're boring. So just chill out a bit.
Well said. Is there anyone else in the chat who wants to join as a guest?
I will do the ask.
Do the ask, because there's like a 20-second delay between me saying those words and then hearing them.
You want to join? There we go.
I'm trying to think if there's anything else particularly worth covering.
Quality says yes, totally.
Okay. I'll message them.
You do that.
Okay.
Interestingly, you're a Muslim as well, right?
Miriam is.
What did you say? Sorry, I was looking at the chat.
Chat.
What was it?
You're a Muslim as well, right?
Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum. We did a thing, Greg. We did a thing. You have no idea what it is.
I feel left out.
You
As a
feel
white,
left out.
I mean,
as a white, I feel left out.
Greg apparently doesn't know how to pronounce it. Remember I said that I'd teach you?
Yeah, she did when you were really drunk. He was very drunk, and yeah, it was when I tricked you into doing a Nazi salute.
You what?
And you were like, Assalamu alaikum.
Great, that's on the internet forever.
No, it's not. It's on Instagram. So I mean, it won't be.
This is a live stream where that's happened.
Well, I mean,
Okay, cool. As long as it was cool.
it wasn't. But okay.
It was a mistake as like the two token. Actually, we're not the token. We're the minorities here.
You're not
We
racist.
can say Greg is not a racist.
Greg is not racist.
Woohoo!
You have the Asian backing, Greg.
I have that demographic.
If you call me Bangladeshi, though, I mean, things will change.
Zaid, I think that's just an issue with my geography.
Your inherent lack of understanding how maps work.
Yeah. I mean, I have a map up there. Still no idea.
You do. Look, there is India.
Okay.
There,
Right.
there, in the corner is Bangladesh. I'm not from that corner.
Nice. We got that.
Neither am I.
See, no one's from Bangladesh because it sucks.
See, look, we're becoming friends without any alcohol. Isn't that amazing? This is a demonstration.
It's a demonstration of the two Muslim people that don't drink and how we do it.
Okay, yeah, that is completely true, though.
It's all charisma, Greg. It's all charisma.
And you both have it in spades.
We do. Do we?
The thing is, like, if you go to like a party place and there are a few Muslim people who don't drink and they still like to be there, like that's like a guarantee that no one's gonna pressure you to drink either. If like they can hang out with people and have a good time, then you're fine.
Indeed.
Very fair.
I do. When people say like you need alcohol to have fun, I'm like, do you? Like, I feel like I don't really need the depressive. Depressive is it called?
Depressant.
I don't really need the depressant to be sociable. I mean, that helps. I know it's a social lubricant, but I mean, I don't need it.
The thing is, though, like when you're Muslim, firstly, also I can hear myself, and it's weird.
I'm sorry.
It's our setup. We're sorry.
We'll
Okay,
do
no
better
problem.
next time.
We'll
It's
try.
fine. The thing is, like, at least when you're Muslim or you have like a religious reason, you can just be like, oh, I'm Muslim, I'm not going to drink, and then people will generally leave you alone. I feel like it's harder when you don't have like a spiritual reason and you're like, I don't want to drink today, and people will be like, oh no, it's fine, just like have one or whatever. Like I think that's a lot more difficult
At the
to
same party,
justify to other people.
yeah, when I'm with some people at the same parties, like a friend of mine, she doesn't drink at all. And people know I don't drink either, but they'll constantly hassle her, like, why don't you drink? Why don't you drink? I'm like, well, that's me why I don't drink. I mean, right, because they already know, well, he's got a beard, he's brown. I mean, there's one usual reason when he doesn't drink. But then this girl's like a small, very stereotypical looking pie girl sort of thing. She doesn't
Yeah.
drink. But she don't drink. So it's like, I don't know, this weird sort of stigma. I don't know.
In about a minute or so, we do have Lucy joining us, who goes by the username of Awkwardty.
That is helpful.
Yep. And
So
we'll...
Emma Popcorn is in the chat.
Hello, Emma. If
Hello,
you
Emma.
join at any point, please do, because you're off to uni.
Hello,
also,
Emma.
Asking Arno, haha, you're reading the book entitled Emma. Arno, if you're in any position to join, go ahead, man.
Do it, son.
Yeah, honestly, we need more perspectives on things.
And as a Dutch person, you seem to be very familiar with drugs, so that'll be interesting.
Yeah, can you hook us up? I do not advocate drug usage in the UK. It is illegal, and thank you. I feel like I have to.
Emma says, I do drink, but not often.
Okay, I don't. Cool.
I would join, but they're making Harry Potter cosplay-related gifts.
You.
Very specific thing there.
That's such a specific thing. Either way,
I know he's down to join, but he's going to bed in 30 minutes, probably.
perfect. That's when the live stream ends.
That's when the live stream ends, Arno. Nice job.
I'll message you, Arno.
He'll do the message.
Yeah.
No.
What haven't we talked about? Is there anything you feel I've missed? Open question to the chat and to the two co-hosts.
To the Asians.
To the Asians. Open question to every Asian on Earth.
Well.
What's your favorite food?
I don't think we're going to derail the conversation that hard.
Not that hard.
We'll save that for the post-live stream chat.
Fine.
Any really weird, like, alcohol-related stories or like of friends being. I mean, you've heard my one, like my flatmate just
Right.
his feet up. I mean, I've got one of Greg, him just rolling on the floor laughing at a picture of a dog.
I love that dog, man. It was funny.
There's a drawing of a dog on a whiteboard, sorry, and he just found it really funny that it was there. Even though I think you had drawn it originally when you were sober, and then found it hilarious that you had drawn it whilst drunk, and then rubbed it out and redrew it again. It
was a really funny dog.
A really funny dog he drew on the board.
I mean, I have a story, but it's hard to justify because I wasn't actually drunk, even though other people were.
I mean, neither was I for this. I'm never drunk. It's just witnessing Greg getting drunk.
Tell the story.
All right. So my student union, I'm on the student union, and we go on a trip every year. So we went to Whistler, which, by the way, so for the Vancouver Olympics, Whistler would have been the place where. Okay, I can hear myself, so it's a little bit weird, but it would have been the place where like all the skiing and all that happened. So it's like a mountain area, and it's also like a party area. So everyone's completely drunk, and this is sort of like the after party. And basically, what happened is like two of our executives are like wrestling each other on the floor, and then at some point, like one of them's like, Miriam, what do you want to do? And I was like, I want to step on your knee. So that's and the other executive was like, Miriam, you're not drunk, so you can't do that. You're actually gonna injure him. And I was like, no, I want to try stepping like directly on his knee. And so that's what I did. Gently and then harder. And then nothing broke. But
well, that's good.
Why did you want to step on his knee?
I don't know, just curious. I'm like a biology student. So like a lot of I don't know. I just felt like it.
Speaking of trips, a weird one happened to me. Trip to the Lake District, and my mates just decided to get both high and very drunk. So in the evenings, I just thought, okay, I'm going for an early night, I'm going to bed. I think it's the first one to go to bed because I'm a boring person.
Okay, my phone's at 1%. Bye.
Bye, Miriam.
Bye. It's just a Greg and Zaid stream. But tell you what, you remember Tom from that party upstairs?
I do remember Tom.
Tom from that party upstairs was so high and drunk that at some point in the night he thought, you know what? Zaid's trying to sleep. Let's just run into the room all at once and just jump on him.
Oh.
And so what ended up happening is they all sort of jumped me, tried to rip me out of my sleeping bag. And then they couldn't get me out of my sleeping bag. I was like, what the fuck are you doing? And then Tom just jumps on my back and mounts me in my sleeping bag. And I'm like, what are you doing?
Was there any resolution to that?
It was, Tom, stop attempting to assault me. Get off my sleeping bag.
Oh, no.
He did. And he's like, this one was like, what did I do? Because he'd had a lot of cat, basically, on a trip. Bad idea.
Oh, dear.
Don't do cat in the Lake District.
He tripped while on a trip? Gracious.
Gracious. Have you added Arno yet?
I've sent the link to Arno's here.
Hey, Arno's here.
Hi.
You, Greg, but hi.
Arno, tell us about your alcoholic experience in life and also any social pressure you may have encountered.
For me, I don't really experience, I haven't really experienced social pressure drinking wise. It's always kind of like, yo, you want a beer? And they're like, yeah, sure. And they're like, oh, here's the beer. And if it's like, oh, I don't want a beer, they're like, okay, like, here's the beer if you want it later. I've never been around people that really pressure me to drink.
Fair play.
Yeah, same for weed. Because weed is kind of, wait, let me just close the blinds. But weed is kind of similar to alcohol here in the Netherlands. Like, people just have it in parties at parties because it's legal. You can just get it anywhere, you know. Well, not anywhere, but at any coffee shop. So
that's such a weird concept.
Coffee shops.
Yeah, we call them coffee shops. No, we call them coffee shops, but they're weed bars, kind of like that. But so you can have so you can smoke weed in the bars, but you can also just buy some pre-rolled weed, like pre-rolled spliffs, or you can just buy the weed and the papers, and then you can roll it yourself.
Right.
And there's a lot of different kinds of weed too. Some have different effects. So some weed can make you really drowsy. Some other weed makes you really hyper. Really depends.
Fair play. So, educational background. I genuinely can't remember what yours is. Have you ever Freshers
Yeah.
Week?
No. I studied. I finished my bachelor's last year, so 2016.
Right.
So I started in
Freshers Week.
2000.
Is that a thing over there, first of all?
Yes, but it's not really a because so I went to like an international bachelor's, very small campus kind of thing. But it's also a thing in regular universities. But I think it's a bit different. It's not as intense as the UK, as in the UK.
Right.
It's not a literal brand.
Yeah, it's not been commodified and gentrified and such. I'm using the word
You're
gentrified
using it entirely
incorrectly, but I feel like that's funny.
It's funny, but as someone that studies gentrification as a genuine topic, what are you doing?
I feel that it also kind of gets across the meaning.
I don't get it. I'm sorry. I don't.
Take it over.
Yeah, gentrify is like when a rich person moves into a poor neighborhood and takes over.
Yeah, I know. That's why I don't get what
Makes no
it
sense.
means in this context.
Because like the university officials have taken the concept of something that was student run and ran with it and like made it a corporate thing.
Oh.
I'm not sure. I see where you're coming from. I'm not sure if it's the exact correct.
Right.
I don't know, man. I'm not one for.
It's
They
part.
institutionalized it.
Anyway,
Like a rotisserie.
institutionalized, I guess. Although that sounds scary.
Right? I mean, they kind of did. If it's something that's outside of the institution at first, and then
Yeah.
Right?
Fair. Words, man, they're weird. So
tell me about it.
Language.
Yeah.
I studied it. Heyo.
Whoa. So what was your freshers like? You mentioned how it's not quite as big of a thing.
Well,
Was there...
on my campus it was. So we had an intro week.
Right.
So that entire week was basically so basically we only have 200 people applying for the entire that actually start for the first year, right? So you basically get sorted into families of 25. You have parents which are like older. Is Lucy here?
Lucy's just arrived, yeah. Waiting.
Hi.
Hi.
Hello. Is
For
it
some reason, my camera isn't working. Wait.
Okay, that's cool.
Oh.
Carry on, Anna.
Yeah. So so we were divided in families, and we had like all these kind of on our campus itself. We had like all these activities like a bouncy castle and like a bunch of stuff that we were going to do and explore the city to kind of like get to know where everything is, like where to get groceries and stuff.
Yeah.
And of course, every evening there was a theme, like a party with a theme, like either like anything but clothes, those kind of themes, and a lot of drunk people.
Right.
But yeah. So, but I don't think. Yeah, I never experienced the pressure to drink, so I mean, I can only speak from my own experience, but maybe other people did.
How did you approach socializing? How did you approach making new friends?
For me, I think the family system that we had on our campus was very easy because you immediately got to know 24 other people that you could just chat with because you're hanging out anyway, kind of like you're already cycling into town together. So it's already kind of like hey, so what's your name and where are you from,
That's fair.
So, but otherwise, I mean, the campus was so small that we could just talk to people easily.
That's fine.
Everyone was very approachable, and I think if you just basically approach someone, and outside a bar, for example, you're like, yo, like, just like small talk, like, hey, yo, like, do you like to party or whatever? I think sometimes people will be like, okay, what the fuck are you doing? Get away from me. But sometimes you might get a nice conversation out of it,
That's worth it. Lucy, what's your experience?
There we go.
Oh, what
Hey!
perfect timing!
I was trying to figure out how this works. I've never done this before.
Fair play. Welcome to the wonderful world of live streams. It will ruin your life.
It's already done. I'm sorry.
So first of all, what's your educational background? Where are you in that right now?
I'm starting my third bachelor year this Monday.
Is that your final year?
So, no, I have then 3 more years to go. So 1 more year of bachelor and 2 master years
Right. Nice.
till I graduate. So yeah, that's where I'm at.
What's your alcoholic experience?
I'm not that much of a drinker most of the times. Well, sometimes I go out and I like splurge a little bit more. But I'm in a union now as well, and it's not really common to be a non-drinker there. So I'm kind of scared to be pressured a lot more than I'm used to. But normally I'm like, I know my limits. And
Is the union like a sorority or?
well, not really. I don't know. It's like a faculty union, more or
Like a
less.
studievereniging?
Yeah.
All right.
How social is this union? How social based?
Very social based.
Right. Okay.
Like all the big events are organized by us for other students of the faculty and like wider than that as well. So, well, most of the times we have to do shifts and stuff. So we really are pressured to be social there. But it's not really forced to drink stuff. I don't know.
How do you feel about the advice that's been given so far? I don't know how long you've been in the stream chat,
I
but
think about half an hour.
okay. So yeah, how do you feel about what's been said that you've heard? Anything that you think we've missed?
Not really.
Yeah.
I think knowing your limits is important, and what I said about doing something against what you would originally do, and I had to explain it. When you don't want to go out, but eventually you do, and those are one of the best times. I've had that quite a few times, so I think that helps. I don't know.
That's fair. No, that's totally fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, good. So I feel that a lot of the time when it comes to being pressured to participate, there's kind of, I don't know. Zaid, any thoughts
I
on?
mean, Mariam's just singing in the chat, so it's
Oh, Miriam's
just responding with a very loud hello from the other side.
Miriam's derailing the chat. Excellent.
So I'm derailing back because that's how you do things. That's how you shit those.
Okay, good stuff.
Thoughts on what? The general alcohols?
Yeah, I guess. So anything that's been said recently, anything further that you think ought to be said?
I mean, not really.
There was, Lucy just mentioned knowing your limits.
Yeah.
So obviously you haven't drank.
My limit is nothing at all.
Yeah.
So
But
I don't.
with regards to your friends, I showed you my limits.
Yeah,
like,
I've seen Greg's limits. I was there like drink some water, Greg, the entire time.
yeah. I specifically went out of my way to show Zaid the progression.
Because I had no idea. Like I had no concept of how getting drunk worked. So I just did this great game.
Yeah, because like in a very
Jesus, Lucy.
sorry.
No, just Lucy's tappity tap was like.
Oh, sorry. I didn't know you could hear it that well.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, go on.
Yeah. So the progression of drunkenness.
Yeah, so I recognize that in social events, you might not recognize other people getting drunk until they're drunk. So Zaid and I just had an evening to kill. And I was just like, let me show you how it works.
This is supposed to be revising. Fuck it, video games.
Yeah, exactly. And so I went from stone cold sober to rolling on the floor drunk, so that you could see what it was like.
That's a YouTube video right there.
I was like, well.
That's a Twitter evening right there.
Yeah.
Also that.
But it definitely sort of displayed knowing your limits. And that's something I advise to anyone who's beginning to drink or just generally drinking, is figure out where the tipping point is for where you start to regret doing things. Figure out where the tipping point is for when you stop being nervous, and then figure out the safe space between those points.
And have good people around you.
Yeah, I have something to say about that.
Go for it.
I've never been really the drunk person that someone had to carry home, but I'm very scared to be the friend of said drunk person because I have no idea how to care for them, and I'm scared to just let them be, and then they can choke on their own vomit. You know, I have
Right.
no clue. I've never been so drunk that I don't know what I'm doing anymore, so I don't even know how to counteract hangovers and stuff.
Well, I mean, I've had it once where where a friend of mine was like way too drunk, and he wanted to go to bed, but I basically said, hey, maybe you kind of like want to walk around for a little bit. And he was like, oh no, I want to go to bed. And I was like, oh, it'll be fun, you know, like let's talk. And I got to sober him up a little bit, and then I let him go to bed. And I think, I mean, you can always do that. He'll probably have less of a hangover too, if he kind of like fresh night, like the air, you know.
Yeah. The main thing of a hangover is, as far as I'm aware, if anyone knows better, feel free to call me out. The main thing is it's just dehydration and going
really
from like everything to nothing.
I think they're not really sure yet what the hangover is.
Right, okay.
I don't think it can hurt to drink a lot of water, though.
Yeah, exactly. So
that's certain.
That's why there is such a thing of, after you go clubbing, you go to Mackey's or whatever. Because it gives you time to, what's the word, decompress? Or just process everything that's just happened, as opposed to falling straight unconscious. Is Miriam back? Hello, Miriam.
Yeah, she is.
Hey, by the way, does anyone know how to pop out the chat stuff? Because I haven't done that.
You just open it. Future reference to anyone in live stream. You open up the live stream on YouTube whilst you're in it. Make sure you're not playing the two things at once. And then you click the little options menu on the chat, and it has the option to pop out the chat. Opens it in a new window. You can have it on top of your main Google Hangout.
What?
Yeah, it's really quite useful. I would have done it, but I have this boy.
Hi.
Is that boy?
Yeah.
Yep.
Where were we? Drunk people. So going to Mackey's is a useful tradition because it gives you time to be away from the loud noise, be away from the massive socializing. It puts something in your belly, and then you can, I don't know, throw up, go pee, or whatever. Expel as much of the poison as you can. And then throughout the night, drink water. And I don't mean this in like the generic, stay hydrated, kids, drink lots of water. I mean that genuinely. It won't sober you up. It will just keep
slow you down?
Yeah, it will slow your regular drinking down.
I'm on a laptop, by the way.
Oh, hey, we got the laptop going.
And also, it will just make your stomach more full, so you'll...
Yes. It's literally the best thing. Alternate your drinks. You take a shot of vodka, you take a shot of water. You have a pint, you have a pint. Alternate between alcohol and water. There are so many benefits and zero downsides. I mean, the only downside that could possibly occur is that if you're at 3 drinks, you won't be as drunk by the time you go to the club as you might like to be. But then shots.
Also, speaking of shots and pints, well, okay, not a pint, but basically, if you have a bottle of beer and 1 shot, it's almost the same amount of alcohol that you're consuming. So if you're thinking, oh, 4 beers, or 4 beers is way more than 4 shots, or like whatever, yeah, watch out.
Yeah. So yeah, water is excellent. Take into account what alcohol you're drinking. Obviously, mix drinks carefully. But now we're just branching into like government advice.
Eat
also,
bread.
if you also if you exercise or like do like if you start running or something, you get drunk easier. So
yeah, because
Really?
it kicks your body into system so it can digest the alcohol. I might be using some non-perfect words. Miriam, you're a biology student.
I mean, I would assume it's because, so firstly, when you're running, a lot of the blood goes into your core. So that could help the digestive system. And I think the thing that I'm getting, though, is that it's probably like, if you've got alcohol in your blood and you're running, your circulation system is going faster. So it's delivering the alcohol faster to your cells.
that's what happens.
Yeah.
That's why
I don't know for sure, but that's my guess.
That's why exercises like squats and stuff are like the worst because they work more muscles, and they like.
Not that I ever want to exercise, but okay.
There's like
just
There's a lot of
fire. It's just do 50 push-ups. It's a good time for everyone.
no. But there's like this drinking game. It's called, like, you know the song Roxanne, right? Or I don't know what it's called, but Roxanne.
Yeah.
So every time he says Roxanne, so basically you start
not
squatting.
a brown person thing.
So basically you start squatting, and then every time he says Roxanne, you stand up, take a sip of your beer, and then you squat.
What the
That's
hell
basically
kind of
the
drinking
game.
games is that?
Sounds like more of a gym exercise.
It's not fun. It's not fun. It might be actually Dutch, yeah.
Yeah, I've
There's
never
another-
heard of that. What
There's
the hell?
another song that's literally made for that. It's squats and shots.
I mean, we just have shots. Like
No, so
that
it's
might be
squat. So
the
it's
difference
squat
between them.
and shot and squat and shot. That's the entire song.
I feel like it's like.
Are the Dutch really fit?
Are they?
I think
No.
they are. No.
Not
Well,
really.
they do ride the bikes a lot. I mean,
Well, I feel like compared to like
The geography student within you.
I'm sorry. I'm
Do
not-
it.
I feel like
Really do it. Obesity demographics in
Yeah.
the Netherlands.
no, I think the Netherlands isn't that much better than most other countries. I just think that maybe
I think it is.
it's-
I feel like I've seen the statistics. I live in North America, so I know what that is.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like I've never seen as obese people as I have in America. Like I've never seen that anywhere else in the world.
Here we
Because they're
go.
like,
Yeah.
Okay.
because they're like extra, like really, really, really.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, like the reason for, I mean, this is completely off topic. The reason for obesity in America is like really complex.
Yeah.
Because also Mexico also has a huge obesity problem, and like it's not, it's different from America.
Peru
It's why
too,
does it
like-
have the same problem?
All right.
But I
Blimey. There's a lot going on. So yeah, sort of. We've got 8 minutes left. Shall we have some final thoughts and topic wrap-ups?
Yeah.
Who should start?
Arno, because alphabet.
Oh damn. All right.
Any bits of advice that you really want to get across?
I think it's important that you listen to your body and listen to, if you feel like I don't want to drink anymore, then like you won't lose anything to just when you just don't, you know? If you drink, like if you do drink alcohol and you're like, I've had enough, and someone else is like, oh, no, have a beer, you're like, no, just like stand your ground and say no. And they won't hate you for it. They won't dislike you for it. They maybe if they're drunk, they'll be like, who cares? It's your body.
Excellent. I guess alphabetically I go next.
Yeah.
I can do the alphabet me as a literature student. Thank you. So generally, I would say that you can get around a lot of the fresher pressure by participating actively in the social event, and then people will stop caring that you're not drinking, because the main reason people ask if you're drinking is because they worry that you're feeling left out. So if you can make sure that you're not being left out, they won't give a damn. And you can get around any anxieties, general anxieties, like I'm not going to comment on any anxiety that's mad, but general anxieties, you can get around them by keeping in mind that first impressions don't matter. You can get around them by keeping in mind that it's a freshers party. The point isn't to make friends. Well, the point is to make friends, but the point is to go out. And also, the final thing that I want to mention is that parties carry on. Parties will always happen. You have every opportunity to make friends, and also to be an isolationist nobody. So
I mean, you say isolation, so you drag duration.
I dragged someone else in here with me. Lucy, do you want to give anything?
my main thought is that people don't really care whether you're drinking or not. I don't know. People always ask you, like, are you not drinking? Are you having fun and stuff? But they just like asking out of formalities. They honestly don't care. And if they would see you with like a cup that would normally contain beer or stuff, they wouldn't even ask. So it's just like keeping up appearances, kind of. So you don't have to drink. They'll not notice if you don't look like you are uncomfortable and stuff. Like, you shouldn't overthink the fact that you're not drinking, or you'll stand out. You just have to like accept it and move on, make no big deal about it, and no one will care. Also, I've noticed, I don't know how it's like in the UK and stuff, but
good advice. There you go. Miriam, any thoughts?
All right, I'm back on my phone.
We're back on the phone. That's what went wrong. Okay.
I think the number one thing is that you have to remember that when you're out with people, you're not really, your job isn't to entertain and amuse other people. It's for you to have a good time and just be respectful. So the biggest thing about not feeling like the boring sober friend is just having that sort of self-assurance that like you're not boring just because you're sober, and you're still going to have fun, and that like will make your evening so much better, just having that sort of self-assurance. And you are 100% going to make friends as long as you are repeatedly meeting people and being nice. That's it.
Yeah, absolutely. Zaid.
Wow. As someone who just straight up skipped Freshers Week, I can attest to the fact that you don't essentially need it to make friends. I mean, it's helpful, very helpful. I feel like it would have made things easier for me, but I mean, immediately after first week back, I went to just every single society to get my hands on, and then suddenly I'm friends with literally more people than I can manage at this point. So, you know, it's a case of the alcohol isn't always necessary, because you're at university. There's like a million other ways that you can meet these people, and not all of them they have to be absolutely smashed. Maybe they might should have your name afterwards.
There's a key point, which is if you can go from a freshers style event to a more kind of middle-aged tea and biscuits event, then that's how you can build stronger friendships. Because I've found that there are a bunch of people I know at uni who are drinking friends. Like, they'll always be at the party, always, but I don't know them. I know their name, I know their favorite brand of alcohol. I couldn't tell you what course they were on, and I certainly couldn't tell you their mother's name. Like, I've got no idea who they are, but they're always there.
Why is their mother's name a question you're asking?
Because it's just an interesting fact about someone that you will only ever learn if you hang out with them a lot of times.
Like, you don't know.
I don't think that's true. I think he just wants to know, like, the security question at a bank, like, what's your mother's maiden name? Like, that's not an interesting thing to know, Greg.
Oh no,
I've had like friends I've known for like 10 years now, and I still don't know their mother's name.
Well,
you don't know their mother's name?
Well, I hope they do. I don't.
I'm not revealing. On that bombshell.
So, Greg, how many mothers' names do you know?
Too many.
I knew you liked old women.
This is getting out of hand. Thank you, everybody, for joining. Thank you, everybody, for joining us here on the video part of things. Thank you for being in the chat. Thank you for providing all of your wonderful range of opinions and all the advice that we've shared and learned along the way.
Freshers Week.
Happy Freshers Week, everybody. The hangout will continue after the live stream's over. DM me on Twitter if that's something you'd be interested in. And this will be available online afterwards. Send it to friends. Give them
or
some
don't.
advice.
Or don't. All right.
See, I was going to end on the ability Dorothy's back. Just brilliant.
Dorothy, last minute.
So, Dorothy, take advantage of this. This is now the time where we get to plug our channels.
Okay. Oh, what? So I was on a FaceTime with my friend. Okay. So, I make things on the internet about society and why it's messed up.
You're an SPW.
But yes, I am a social justice warrior. Lydia! I am a social justice warrior. And yeah, so if you are down for that, go check me out, but appropriately, please.
Your links will
Alright.
all be in the description. Don't you worry about that. Let's go alphabetically again. Arno.
But we start with the D.
Yeah, she jumped because
Start with the D.
funny. Arno,
Always start with
She's
the D.
above the alphabet.
Jeez.
Well, my channel is Arno Goes Online. I make vlogs, but I also make silly stuff. I talk about a lot of stuff, but mostly stuff that happens in my life. I'm not very good at selling my channel.
Can I interject and say happy 2nd birthday?
Hey,
Yeah.
thank you. Yeah, I just had my 2nd year anniversary for my channel.
congratulations on that.
Oh,
Thank you.
happy birthday.
May you
Thank you.
continue.
No.
I feel like there's little need to plug myself on my own channel. Click my name and watch my videos where the previous one is another live stream.
And the one before that is another live stream.
Easy to make, and he doesn't have to do any editing.
Hey! But also, the videos before then that I actually do edit are very minimalistic, and they're essentially 1 or 2 person live streams anyway. So that's
Yeah,
what I like
live
doing.
streams, aka conversations. Greg.
Oh no, I'm a
I
millennial.
had such a good live stream yesterday in real life.
Oh no, I'm a millennial.
Lucy.
Lucy, take the pressure off me. Chat.
Yeah, put the pressure on me then. I don't know if my profile is properly linked because I had a lot of issues trying to get here. But my channel is like, I don't know. I don't know how to sell it at all. I sometimes upload just when I have an idea that I really want to make a video about, but they're not very good. And there's mostly the color green for some reason.
That's fair. Do you want
That's
to
it.
plug your Twitter as well if you feel that that's more applied?
Yeah, I'm more on Twitter anyway. Well, it's basically @_allqwerty, which is AW and then the keyboard thing because I made it when I was 15 and I haven't been able to part with it. So yeah, it's still that.
Nice. You're genuinely lovely, and if anyone wants to
Aw,
chat,
thank you.
go for Lucy.
I also really love your glasses, Lucy.
Thank you. You're also like similar, yeah. Good taste.
Miriam, talk about yourself.
All right. So I don't have any YouTube channel or videos.
You've got
One
the
day I
Or
will.
face, apparently.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I mean,
Just
when I
the
do make a
forehead.
video, you'll see a lot less of my forehead, hopefully. But I am on Twitter. I am on
Make it your
Twitter
brand.
at. I mean, yeah, like my eyebrows are great when you can see them. But on Twitter, I am currently doing a thread on food. So if you want to see that, I guess you can do that.
Hashtag relatable.
And I like talking to people. So yeah, that's it.
Talk about the live stream you were on.
Oh, the viewer creator divide live stream?
That was really interesting. That's how I got to know you.
Yes. So basically, Ruby Macy, who you might know, I don't know if I'm pronouncing Macy properly. She was on Twitter. And she was talking about something completely different. Like she was talking about like, oh, we should comment on other small creators' channels. And then I was really annoyed that day for no reason. Well, for a couple of reasons. But I was suddenly like, you know what really pisses me off about like the small YouTube community? And then I went on a like huge like rant, and then a lot of people apparently like really understood it. They were like, I did get a few comments that were like, oh, I've never been able to put it in words. But now that you put it like that, like it does reflect like their beliefs that interactions on the small YouTube community between creators and the audience don't tend to be as good as we pretend they are. So that sort of resulted me in being on a girl named Ibby's live stream, which was about the viewer creator divide. So if you want to watch that,
Links
ask
will
Greg
all
or
be-
me on Twitter.
Yep. Links in the description for everything. Thank you all for watching. This will be available to watch back later on. Thank you.
Wait, Zayed didn't.
I just have a really small Twitter and a sort of like okay Instagram, which if you want, I mean.
Oh yeah, my Instagram's great.
I do
Also
Always
Mermaid.
plug.
sometimes
I
You
love
do it
Instagram.
well.
Do I?
Yeah, it's all right.
Thanks, Greg. Yeah, it's all right. I'm gonna have that as a quote on my pages. Yeah, it's all right. Gregory Murphy.
Links in the description. He's pretty cool.
Hi. Bye.
Bye. Stop broadcast.
Thanks for having us.